Hi, welcome to my game design mastery journey. My name is Attila Sensi Molnar. I'm a game designer at King and also pursuing my master's in game design at Full Sail University. On my first month of my program will be the Mastery, Personal Development, and Leadership course. I have a few goals for this course. One of them is to get connected to my life's task and mastery journey by reading the book Mastery by Robert Greene. Then is to conduct research around industry-renowned journals and blogs to be used as possible candidates for my Capstone project, utilizing Master's Resource Guide provided by Full Sail University. And finally, to oversee market trends on a daily basis for 1 hour a day, subscribing to gaming metrics, and reading gaming news. The second month of my master's program will research in team dynamics. My goals are understand the dynamic of psychological safety in groups for production, reading the Center Journal on Ebesco, investigating possible real-world applications in global studios by watching various production-oriented talks on the GDC Vault online. Also to research methods and strategies for measuring team effectiveness and performance by listening to an audiobook, The Best Team Wins. In the third month of my program, Project and Team Management, my goals are become familiar with what makes a good mentor by reviewing the LinkedIn learning video, Be a Good Mentor. Also to understand the difference between a good workplace coach by reviewing LinkedIn Learning video coaching skills for leaders and managers. Then finally, to develop a project plan for a weekend game jam idea, utilizing Microsoft Excel and Word. In the game design course, my goals are develop a game prototype for a game jam idea, utilizing Construct Engine, and build a shareable prototype to upload to my Spark page. Then it's to develop a micro-animated user flow using a new UX software that I have not experimented in or used before by reviewing a LinkedIn Learning video principle for UX design. Then it's to become familiar with the MDA framework, the Mechanics, Dynamics, and Aesthetics framework in Advanced Game Design by Michael Sellers. In the course Methods in the User Experience, I like to gather more understanding of UX writing, reading strategic writing for UX, then gain practical experience with UX research by hopefully participating in the Full Sail UX Lab as a participant. Understand the collaborative workflow of UX research and product marketing by reviewing the LinkedIn Learning video Advanced Product Marketing. In the game production tools course, I'd like to become more fluent with Excel and Visio integration for game production by completing a LinkedIn Learning video, Excel and Visio, generating diagrams automatically. Also to complete digital production case study online, which is also another training on LinkedIn Learning. Also to just practice using Microsoft Project, understanding its tools, outlining perhaps an experimental game jam idea as an actual production plan. In prototyping and content creation, I'd like to complete at least one prototyping training course online using LinkedIn Learning, and also begin learning the basics of C# for Unity. There's a really great book, Learning C# by Developing Games with Unity 2020. Organize a digital game jam with friends. I'd like to invite fellow students and local developers, perhaps, to participate in a weekend-long digital game jam and publish the results to Spark. In quality assurance, I'd like to read more about modern quality assurance systems and strategies by reading a modern quality assurance system. Then it's to set up a testing environment and testing template, creating a checklist based on the classroom material and recommendations from my instructor. Become familiar with the full process of testing and releasing a game from a logistical point of view on Android, on iOS, and Steam, There's a very stringent process to execute a release. I'd like to know more about that, more in depth. In asset management, I'd like to read about production pipeline fundamentals in the book Production Pipeline Fundamentals for Film and Games. Then I'd like to gain practical experience in asset management to create an actual asset management architecture in a Unity project or in a prototype from a previous course. Also understand the dependencies around different asset types in game production by reading Lead Designer's Handbook by Sinclair. In game usability and testing, I'd like to understand the human factors to usability by reading Human Factors in Simple and Complex Systems. I'd like to understand the quintessential principles of design and testing, reading Universal Principles of Design. I'd also like to create an interface prototype to be sent off to playtesting for real feedback from players. So as a use case, a very light use case, submitting it to the service Playtest Cloud online and posting the results on my Spark page. In the game project Practicum, I'd like to start planning for the Deconstructor of Fun article I'd like to publish as part of my Capstone, create a network, arrange and plan for the Capstone project. Then I'd like to begin writing the framework for the publication, outlining the general hypothesis, the context, and the high-level concepts the publication is trying to communicate, and also create applicable collaboration with fellow students, utilizing the game-making community at Full Sail to form relationships and connections with students of similar goals. Then finally, in my final month is the production research capstone. And here I will be submitting and publishing the Deconstructor of Fun blog post using the course materials and establish a professional social media presence online as a master in game design. I'd really like to begin starting weekly game design posts on LinkedIn to gain more exposure on that platform. Also, I'd like to complete the book, How to Do Things with Video Games, which is a reading material from the course. Yeah, so as the industry leaders that I'd like to potentially interview for my capstone would be one, Fauzi Mezmar, head of design at DICE, very good friend of mine. Also, Mikhail Katkov, used to be head of studio at Rovio, is now the founder of Deconstructor of Fun, which will be the platform where I'd like to publish my capstone article. Then there's the Sophie Vo, who's game lead at Voodoo. Also Nick Turlings at Voodoo, who's senior game designer and writer. Caitlin Goodale, senior product designer at Memrise. Jan David Hassel, senior technical game designer at Ubisoft. The clubs and organizations that I'd like to form deeper relationships with would be one, a local organization called Game Habitat here in Malmö, Sweden. Also, there's a Games for Change Association online, which speaks to me very much and I'd like to get involved in some shape or form. Also, there's the IGDA, the International Game Developers Association. As a part of my personal learning network, I'd like to become subscribed to gamesindustry.biz, Delicious Digest, and Gama Sutra. As a part of the Full Sail community, there's some really great, there's a chapter, International Game Developers Association, the IGDA, the local chapter there at Full Sail. There's Full Sail Wellness, which would be great in accomplishing my work-life balance. And there's also a really fun tabletop games club, which would be pretty neat to join. As a part of the qualities for a possible mentor, I'd like it that my mentor have the time for this mentor-apprentice relationship, have a strong attention to detail, have communication skills, experience at somewhat a high level of game development, and also active in giving feedback. At King, we also have these topics of culture, being fun and friendly, having care and craft, being humble and open, fast and fluid, being creative champions, and having passion and performance. These would also be really nice qualities for my mentor as well. So as a part of the timeline for my master's program, first we'll have mastery, research and team dynamics, project and team management, then game design, followed by methods and the user experience, game production tools. The second half of my program will be prototyping and content creation, quality assurance, asset management, game usability and testing, game project practicum, and production research capstone. These are my references for this presentation. And I'm really happy that you had took the time to listen and to see my presentation. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Would be great to get in contact. Take care.